motherfuckers, come on. Yeah, come on, motherfuckers, come on. Come on, motherfuckers, come on. Release the Bronx.
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing a short tutorial series featuring all of the different characters in Overwatch. I plan on going over the intricate details of each character's kit and perhaps teaching newer players and older players alike some things that they did not know. If I haven't made a video for one of the characters that you would like to learn, then please leave a comment below and subscribe so that when the video does come out, you'll be the first to know. Thanks for watching, and let's learn how to play Widowmaker. Before I talk about any of her skills, I wanted to talk about crosshairs right quick. One of the things you'll notice is that your crosshair, by default, it will actually blend into the background very easily. And the reason why is because the colors in Overwatch are very washed out. It's easy to confuse things like the text here, where it says 100% power and the little white chevron there. They kind of blend right into the background. And the reason why is because, it's a very washed out game. That doesn't mean it looks bad, it's just the way the color palette is. One of the best things you can do, right off the bat, is to go into your options, click on controls, go into your color settings, and change it to green. Now, when I first changed it over to green, I wasn't exactly comfortable with it, because why would I want to shoot my enemies with a green crosshair? But honestly, you will get used to it, and you will improve your aim by having your crosshair easily trackable, because your eyes tracking that crosshair, it's very important in the future. So just change your crosshair to green for now. If you don't like it, you do not have to use this. This is just one of my recommendations before we start. It has improved my aiming quite a bit, and I'm hoping it will also improve yours. One other setting we're going to change before we go into this is we're going to go into the controls once again, go up to all heroes, go down to Widowmaker, and we're going to change the type of her crosshair to crosshair. And the reason why is because it feels more in line with Soldier 76's, and I'm more familiar with it. Also, in my opinion, it better represents her default accuracy. That basically means before she starts shooting. See, the other crosshair, it's a little dot surrounded by a circle, and the circle around that dot is essentially meaningless. I quite like the crosshair because all you have is that little precise square at the center, and that's it. So, on to the next part. Alright, so one of the first things that I wanted to debunk was the idea that Widowmaker is a stationary sniper. That could not be further from the truth. She has been given one of the most versatile and mobile abilities in the game. Her grappling hook is phenomenal. If she's not a stationary sniper, then what is she? I would like to call her an opportunist. She uses her grappling hook to get in and get out of situations, to reposition herself, and engage the enemy team in ways they would not have expected. This is very important because it allows her to engage every new team fight from a new angle. And when you're the enemy team and you do not know where the Widowmaker is going to come from next, that is devastating. I wanted to answer one of the questions that I'm sure will come up. Why do new players flock towards Widowmaker? Or Hanzo, why do they enjoy snipers? The reason why is because snipers are one of the most appealing classes to play in video games. Historically, they have been the most impressive to watch. When you see someone jump off a building and get a 360 no-scope, the first thing you say is, man, I want to pick up that game, and I want to try that as well. That's one of the main reasons why Widowmaker is so popular. It's not because of her curvy figure or anything like that. It's just the fact that she's a sniper, and new players, they're new. They don't know anything but snipers. That's historically what they've watched, and that's what they flock to. And that's not a bad thing. I feel like I'll be shot if I don't say this. Widowmaker is not viable in every scenario. When you are doing poor with her, and you realize that you cannot get better in this particular matchup, because no issue on your own part, but because their team composition just completely counters your ability to play Widowmaker, you need to learn how to switch. What do you do when you are getting hard countered by the enemy team? They all have shields, they have the Reinhardt, they have the Orisa, they have all the new characters that counter Widowmaker. What do you do? Switch. What do you do when the opposing Widowmaker instantly kills you as soon as you see her and you are not able to kill her back? Switch. What do you do if you want to get better? However, you've noticed that in this particular matchup, you are consistently dying and you aren't improving your mechanical skill or your positioning skill or your communication skills with your teammates. Switch. Now, all jokes aside, it is important to talk about switching, but it's also important to talk about the character's kit and how to use it. So we're going to start off with her assault rifle. When in assault mode, Widowmaker has a base damage of 13. Her clip size is 30, she has a 1.5 second reload, and she fires 10 rounds per second. This means that over the course of 3 seconds, you will deal a grand total of 390 damage. Now of course, if you were to get headshots, that would be doubled, but that becomes increasingly unlikely as you get farther away from your enemy. Next we'll talk about when she's scoped in. She has a base damage of 12. Every shot she takes consumes 3 rounds out of her clip. There is still a 1.5 second reload. She leaves a visible tracer line, which means that the enemy can detect where she is. This little line here, this smoke trail, it's red on the enemy team. And of course, the sensitivity for the sniper when it's scoped in can actually be adjusted individually from your normal mouse sensitivity in the settings for Widowmaker. While scoped, Widowmaker deals a whopping 120 damage per charged shot, with the potential to get a 2.5 times multiplier on that, so that she ends up dealing 300 damage per headshot. Now it should be mentioned that at the bottom of the screen there, you will see where it says 100% power. Now what that actually means is that per percentage, it's actually amplifying your damage by 10%. So when you're at 100% power, you're actually amplifying your base damage by 1000%. So that means that in certain scenarios and versus certain characters, you actually don't have to fully charge your scope to kill that character. I'll show you with these bots, where I do not need to fully charge my scope in order to kill them. So as you can see, in some instances, it is unnecessary to fully charge your sniper rifle. Now one of the benefits to fully charging your sniper rifle, of course, is that when you're at a low mechanical skill level, which means it's hard for you to land headshots consistently, it will force you to wait longer between shots and give you more of an opportunity to better place your crosshair. And just to reiterate one of the more important points about Widowmaker's kit, when she lands a headshot, as opposed to every other character in the game, she gets the unique benefit of dealing 2.5 times damage with a headshot, where every other character, including Hanzo, deals 2 times damage. So the next thing I would like to talk about is her Venom Mine. It deals 15 damage per second over the course of 5 seconds for a total of 75 damage by the end of its duration. It has a 15-second cooldown. It is mostly used for tracking when enemies are coming towards you, rather than as an offensive ability. However, it can on occasion kill stragglers who are running off with low health. It should be mentioned that it has a 3-meter radius around where it explodes. The next skill I would like to talk about is Widow's ultimate ability, Infrasight. It lasts a total of 15.5 seconds and gives the ability to see through walls to you and your entire team. 2 of the most popular scenarios are using it for your team to outposition the enemy team, or to use it for yourself so that you can better position and engage the enemy team, predict where they're aiming already, and predict where they're going to be so that you can land headshots before they even know you're there. For example, I'll kill this robot behind the wall here. He doesn't have the opportunity to get the jump because I kill him as soon as he comes around the corner. Once again, it's very easy to show that you don't even have to move your crosshair in these instances because the enemy will generally just walk right into them. It should be mentioned that Widowmaker's ultimate ability is best used just before a team fight. The reason why is so that you and your team can better position yourselves and engage the enemy team in a more meaningful way. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about her grappling hook. Her grappling hook is the glue that ties everything in her kit together. It is what allows her to engage the enemy and disengage the enemy in quick and meaningful ways. Her grappling hook has a 12-second cooldown. It has a 20-meter range. When you grapple onto something and are pulling towards it, you actually move at 16 meters per second. So that means that it just takes over 1 second to reposition into any area you want. The grappling hook also gives Widowmaker the opportunity to shock her enemies from different angles. One of those angles just so happens to be the sky. One of the more popular approaches to using the grappling hook involves her using it to grapple onto a building, let go, and then snipe somebody as she comes down. And this is very cool to watch. However, it is also very practical. You aim above their head, and as you drop down, your reticule repositions over their head. It's functional and stylish. At this point, we've covered all of her skills and abilities. However, I wanted to mention one last thing. She has one more advantage to her kit, which relies on mechanical skill, and this is the ability for the player to aim and consistently land headshots. I will demonstrate this poorly in the training session. However, I hope to get a real example to show you by the end of the video. Please note how I try to land headshots without fully charging the scope to demonstrate once again that you don't need to fully charge the scope.
Double kill, triple kill, quadruple kill, quintuple kill.
So we just went over all of the features of her kit. The next section is going to include some real-world examples, some advice for training, and a few more tricks and tips that I couldn't fit into the previous section. One thing to remember is that if you are consistently missing your shots, It's unlikely because you're a bad player. There's a good chance that you've gotten worked up, or you've gotten on what's called tilt, and you should probably calm down, pull back, and reevaluate your situation, and then re-engage the enemy when you're ready. A lot of the time, you see players panic shoot and miss a ton of their shots. I seen that Roadhog from a distance with his ultimate is not extremely strong. So one of the more important things to do is to target him as Widowmaker, because generally you're not going to be up close to them. Another good idea is to capitalize on their flying characters like Mercy and Pharah, because they have a poor ability to avoid your shots, right? So as you can see here, Infrasight is active, and I see the Widowmaker around the corner. So I'm going to take her out before she takes me out, and luckily I was able to do that. I see the McCree coming from the right side there, and I use my grappling hook to escape and also engage him. As you can see here, I am suppressing the sniper on their team and their healer. This is both good because it stops the healer from doing pretty much anything effective, and the sniper is distracted by me, so they're not targeting one of my more important teammates. I luckily get a pick here on McCree, and before I get the shot on Mercy there, she gets the kill. I noticed that somebody's engaging my team from up here. I believe it was the opposing Widowmaker. Luckily, Mercy came up to save me, and I was able to take out the McCree before anything bad happened. I get the drop on one of the enemies. I reposition myself because I felt like I was in danger there. Luckily, I sniped the Widow, and I killed Soldier 76 right afterwards. We proceeded to win the game. For some reason, they all got resurrected and walked away from the objective. I don't know why, but that's quick play for you. McCree makes the mistake of right-clicking. I seen these guys here, and I was ready to engage, but we won the game, so I didn't have to. Once again, use the grappling hook to engage the enemy team. I noticed the Hanzo right away, and I take him out through one of the windows on that little building over there. Now, one of the best ways to train is to actually go into the play, click on Arcade, go into Create Game, and click Add AI. Set the hero to Anna, difficulty to easy. Put the team over to Team 2. Press Add, and it'll fill the enemy team up with Annas. What you then do is go into the settings. You go into modes. You disable everything except for eliminate skirmish. My bad. So you disable everything except for skirmish, and then you go into, I believe it's heroes, and click receive headshots only, and turn that to on, and you start. And the reason why is because Anna is one of the only characters in the game that can't get headshots, and you can. So it's a good way to practice your hits. I mostly do this with McCree because I find McCree is a little bit more of a technical character. However, you can practice with Widowmaker and Jujus as well. So just keep practicing until you're getting headshots consistently, and after you start getting them consistently, you'll be able to bring that over into quick play or competitive or whatever you like to play, and you'll be doing much better than you did before. Now the reason why we use Anna is because she actually can't get headshots on the player. So basically you have all day to just practice your headshots on them and just make sure you confirm those kills. Now, confirming a kill is way more important than missing a shitload of times and just making a mistake consistently. If you can consistently get headshots, regardless of your pace, you will eventually improve. One of the other things you can do is rather than charging up the scope to full, you can of course always just try to do what I mentioned earlier and charge it halfway up and then try to get a headshot. Of course you're spamming the bullet at this point because you want to get that half charge, but if you're able to get headshots just half charging, you're going to be able to get them full charging, and that's one way to improve. Now one of the last things I wanted to talk about before I end the video is that when Widowmaker lands off of a high surface, her reticule falls down, just like that. And as playing Widow, you're going to have that happen a lot, where your reticule actually falls down, and when you land, it just kind of puts your aim off. Now what I wanted to say was that this actually doesn't move your cursor. When you land, your cursor is still where it was supposed to be. As you can see there, my reticule was not on the robot's head, it was on the ground, and it still managed to land a headshot on him. I'll try that one more time, just so it's not confirmation bias. As you can see once again, the reticule was not on his head, and I'll be sure to slow down the footage so that you can see that yourself. But I was still able to get the kill. So the reticule moving is completely graphical. However, I have found instances of characters actually inheriting the velocity of the reticule. For instance, May, whenever she lands off of this platform here, as you can see there, it actually did go down, but I'm not sure why that is. I believe it's because this ice cannon is actually a projectile-based weapon, rather than a hit scan weapon. I believe this is probably something that's exclusive to the hit scan weapons. I will prove it again once with Soldier 76. As you can see, the bullets did not go down any lower than just right there. That concludes the Widowmaker tutorial. I hope you learned something new. If you have any suggestions for the next video, please let me know in the comments. And if I haven't made a video, once again, for one of the characters that you would like to learn, let me know below, and be sure to subscribe so that when that video does come out, you'll be the first to know. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.